I've already hit it, so start yours at about 4 minutes in on mine.
Wait, what?
I don't know.
I couldn't tell if I lost you there for a second or if you were just making no sense.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to tell sometimes. Hello and welcome to the Never Heard of It podcast. I'm Craig Moorhead, and today I am joined, as always, by my co-host,
Shawn P. Harwell. My middle name does not start with P. I don't know why I said that, but there it is.
Sounds good.
Welcome. Yeah, this is a mini episode. This is 40.5. If you haven't had a chance to check out our chat with Jason Barker, guest and friend of ours, about the 1959 Disney film, wonderful little crazy Irish movie called Darby O'Gill and the Little People. Go check out that full episode. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, we had a blast talking to him. And that one's a little different, of the guests we've had. He's the only one who was kind of coming from it from the perspective of someone who works in a theater. So it's a enlightening little chat there. I think we learned quite a bit about what it takes to be in the movie business on the exhibition side these days and ages.
Agreed. I got to say, I don't see a lot of interviews like that with people, so it was really great to be able to talk to him and get that perspective.
That's right. And if you want to find that, you can go over to neverheardpodcast.com or just look back wherever you're listening to this one. Mm-hmm. But we're also on YouTube and all the other social places, so come say hello.
Please do.
Craig.
Yeah.
Remember when we talked about nuts?
Well, that's almost every day, Shawn. You got to narrow that one down.
Okay, remember when we talked about the documentary Nuts?
Yes. That was
about
quite a talk.
John Brinkley? Yeah, that was a couple episodes ago. Well, check this out. This is the big news of the week for me, for sure. I kind of laughed and got excited, and also had to tip my hat to your clairvoyance by suggesting, I think, in our episode on the documentary Nuts, that you felt like this could be a biopic.
Yeah. The
subject of John Brinkley and his goat testicle transplant surgery that he pioneered. You can put that in air quotes, in the 1930s. Mm-hmm. Well, sure enough, it's happening, and the people involved are pretty spectacular. It looks like Richard Linklater will be writing and directing, and Robert Downey Jr. will star either as Brinkley or Morris Fishbein, the wonderful antagonist to Mr. John Brinkley, who worked for the American Medical Association. And I'm still excited about that. I think you're right. I think there's a great version of that story in a fictionalized narrative form. And I think the people involved make a lot of sense. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to think of anybody who is a better fit for that subject matter. Mm-hmm. Like, it just seems like, yeah, I mean, what a great team for it. It's got to be a team that's got a good sense of humor, but can also deal with the seriousness of the subject. Yeah, I don't know. It sounds pretty good. It sounds like that could be quite a thing to watch.
Yeah, I like it on a bunch of levels. Just being a fan of those two people, but specifically, nobody talks better than Robert Downey Jr., right?
Oh, yeah.
And very few people write dialogue as well as Richard Linklater. I mean, he made a trilogy, for God's sakes, that's literally nothing but dialogue. Yeah. And it's amazing. And as we know and talked about, Brinkley was a man of the radio himself. And so I think, that seems like a really exciting fit. Also, it appears as if actually they're basing their story, I think at least they've got the rights to a podcast, Craig, so maybe there's hope that somebody will adapt one of our... Yeah, a podcast called Reply All. They did an episode called Man of the People and about John Brinkley, so maybe we'll throw a link to that. And I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm definitely interested to hear more about that guy because he's pretty fascinating.
Yeah. A friend of mine actually brought up that particular podcast, talking about our podcast. That'd be listener Jim McNamee. Hi, Jim.
Hey, Jim.
But yeah, I haven't gone and checked that particular episode out, but he said it was a great way to hear that story. So I definitely want to check that out.
To cure your impotence, you want me to implant goat testicles into you.
Well, Doc, that can't be worse than the nuts I got.
Well, we'll tie this next bit of news into our last episode here. I think I sent you an article from the AV Club about plans in Nashville, I think in a I don't know, a shopping center or a mega mall or something to do an indoor drive-in movie theater. And when I first saw this headline, I was very, very confused how exactly that would work. But no, you're not going to drive your car in there. So, you have the stretch Hummer right now, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
The hot pink.
It's tough to get
you're not going
to.
Yeah, you'll just park that outside in the parking lot. You'll go inside. But then, yes, it's actually a recreation. It looks like they're probably doing like retro style. I don't know if the cars will be retro themselves, but they're trying to recreate the feel of that drive-in indoors. I guess you'll just go pick a car as if you were getting in like, a ride at a fair or something like that.
Interesting.
Obviously, they're not going to go anywhere, I don't think. You'll sit down, you'll watch the movie. They'll have, I think, hamburgers and milkshakes and that whole vibe as well. How do you feel about that? I mean, also of note, apparently the largest non-IMAX movie theater screen in America. Okay. So is that something, let's say, okay, let's define a price point at which you would pay to go to that, Craig. Well, how much a ticket? Where do you draw the line? And like, no, I'm not doing that.
I mean, it's a good question. When I first, just looking at the title, I figured it sounds like a really dumb idea. Like take all the fun of going to a drive-in and kind of erase that by putting it inside.
Right.
But the way you're describing it here kind of sounds like the sci-fi dine-in theater at Disney's MGM resort, and I only know that because I took my kids there and we sat in a car and ate a meal, and you're not really watching a movie, so that would be a whole nother thing. It's certainly an interesting idea. I don't know, if I had heard the idea specifically from a sort of different point of view, not so much of we're going to take a drive-in and put it inside, but instead like we're going to create a theater, an indoor theater with a new wacky theme that'll it'll be fun. It would be fun. It would be fun to go. Like I'd probably go at least once just to see it, but I don't know. I mean, honestly, one of the great things about going to an outdoor theater, at least for me, is that people can kind of, like, kids can run around and people can kind of be as loud as they want, but you can shut your doors to your car and listen to the movie. And, it's kind of the best of all worlds for everybody. Whereas you put that inside, I don't know what happens to that dynamic. Are people just going to be a lot freer with, hey, I'm going to talk on the phone? I just no, I can't get into that unless, am I going to have an enclosed car? I don't know. It brings up a lot of questions.
That's what I was wondering is, will these cars have windshields? Mm-hmm. And, really, why would they?
Yes, exactly.
Because
why would they, and how terrible will it be if they don't? Exactly.
I feel I could go either way. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. We have one of the 338 drive-ins left in America, kind of nearish by our house.
Very nice.
Benji's Drive-In, and have gone there a couple times. And man, I love that place. And
that's great.
Yeah, I don't know. This, I guess I should say I'm a fan. Anytime somebody wants to build a new movie theater, great. Like, keep building movie theaters. I shouldn't be down on it, but I am pretty confused.
I am very interested to see what repeat business would look like, because I think I can easily imagine going there, spending $15. Sure, it'd be fun once in a while. But as far as being like your regular go-to for a movie theater, I don't know. Right. I think that might be a little bit of a tough sell. Maybe they're not even going for that. So, if we have anybody listening in the Nashville area who's going to go or will go, let us know. Maybe I'll chip in like $3 for your ticket.
You better be shitting me.
Okay, so I'm guessing the biggest news from the past 2 weeks to you personally has to be the big announcement from John Carpenter about this next installment of Halloween, which is hitting close to home for us because, dudes that we know are going to be making a Halloween movie. That's
Yeah.
David Gordon Green and Danny McBride. If you don't know those names, go watch Eastbound and Down or Your Highness or Pineapple Express. And yeah, I mean, I obviously I think we're both really excited. Danny gave an interview to Cinema Blend and talked about, no, they're not making a comedy. It's not exactly a reboot or a remake. It's sort of it's continuing the story of the first two movies, or at least playing in those two worlds. And that's the mythology that they'll be dealing with.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing you're just excited.
I could not be more excited about that.
In fact, I think you asked me how you could what do you need to do to get your internship on that?
Right. I'm currently in the process of quitting my job and leaving my family so that I can go intern and work in the offices there. No, it's super exciting on a lot of levels, and I think not the least of which the fact that both of these guys are phenomenally talented, and I feel like maybe even more in Danny's case than David's case. I feel like a lot of people have not seen the range that he's got.
Sure, and I mean, we don't know yet if he's even going to be in it, but he's definitely writing it. And
that's what I mean. But that's what I mean.
Exactly.
Like I mean, writing, directing, like that kind of stuff, like what he knows combined with what David can do. I'm super excited to see what they're going to do, because it's also just not going to be the same old,
right?
And it's just incredibly exciting to me. A while back, another film school chum, Jeff Nichols, was, I guess, in contention to make the new Poltergeist, and that was the last time I felt this excited. Because I was just like that would be an amazing thing, just for him to really put his spin on it. So anyway, yes, Halloween. I'm sending my money in immediately.
I like it a lot too. I mean, I think it's nice that Carpenter himself put that out there, and actually was as open about it as he was with talking about their actual pitch, like coming in and really knocking his socks off, and mentioned he might do some music for the film. Obviously, you can't predict what's going to happen between now and whenever they would love to release this thing. You know, sometimes these things derail a little bit. Hopefully that won't be the case. But as we've seen in a countless number of examples of late, particularly at Marvel, where they're taking directors who maybe have a horror background and putting them into something that's a little more action comedy. I love that this is an example of doing the opposite, and I think it can be great. So I wish, just in general, more people got to play outside of their sort of defined genre,
absolutely,
on the directing and writing side specifically. So you'll be hearing a lot about this from us for sure. I don't know if you've seen the trailer for The Beguiled, the remake that Sofia Coppola did of the Eastwood and Don Siegel movie.
Yeah.
That's perplexing. You got to check that out. I mean, boy, that's never something I would have thought of her doing, and I kind of love that she is. Right. I've only seen part of the original, and it's very, very weird and kind of specifically toned. But also super weird is this trailer for The Bad Batch, which I think just came out. And this is a film from a woman who did a movie called A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, which I have not seen, but I think it was a pretty well-received, I want to say vampire movie.
I believe so.
In the indie world. Yeah, okay.
I still haven't seen it myself, but yeah.
We'll have to check that out. But that was sort of a side note for me, just because I was... I think I heard about this trailer because Keanu Reeves is in it, and he looks like he's very, very different from anything else we've seen him in. But obviously, there's a lot of attention on him right now because of how well John Wick 2 is doing. Yeah. Jason Momoa is in this. Jim Carrey, Suki Waterhouse, I think, is the lead new actress, and Giovanni Ribisi and a couple other people. Craig, I cannot tell what this movie is about.
Yeah, no, it sort of starts out, it looks like it's going to be sort of one of those torture porn movies where it's just girl in distress and people doing horrible things to her. And and then it kind of leaves that behind. And I don't know. I'm certainly intrigued. I mean, the trailer definitely doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't even really feel like it builds to a climax in a weird way. Like
I mean, yes.
Kind of gives you all this stuff to chew on, and then asks you to, I don't know, stick around, I guess. So I'll be interested to see what's going to happen with that. Yeah.
If the movie came out and people are like, oh, that everything from the trailer is in like the first 5 minutes, I'd be like, yeah, okay, that makes kind of sense. Okay, yeah. That would make sense to me. Like, you cannot tell. Like, even like so many of the shots are really in the same sort of like desert location or something that looks deserty in the background anyway.
Yeah.
And then there's some stuff with Keanu's character who looks a little more urban, but it's a weird one. We'll throw that up there. I'd be curious to hear what people think about that.
Beautiful, isn't it?
They're disgusting.
No, they're men. Now, you're going to have to act just like them, so pay attention.
2 big pieces of news, I think, out of New Zealand, which...
So it's where it's all coming from these days.
I know, right? They've got like 4.5 million people. The live-action version of Mulan, which I think we both talked about being inevitable, has just attached director Nikki Caro, who did Whale Rider, which I loved that movie. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I have
like
not seen it.
Movie.
It's so funny.
Man,
I remember
touching.
it. I remember it coming out, but I've not seen it.
Yeah, really great performance. And then she also did North Country with Charlize Theron, that McFarlane USA, which I think was a Disney movie, live-action movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's got The Zookeeper's Wife, which I think is just a big adaptation coming out this year with Jessica Chastain.
Mm-hmm.
So, the Disney machine just keeps going.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, I've seen Mulan. I don't remember that much. Like, it just didn't stick with me that well. There's a couple of songs I think that do. But I think this is one of those clear examples where this version could surpass that animated film.
For sure.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. I mean, it's kind of a neat way to go about things, because they can kind of look at that one, and if there's anything they fell short or anything, you can kind of bolster it for this next one. Now, I haven't watched... actually, I don't know if that's true. I don't think I've watched any of the new live-action Disney movies. Right,
you saw Jungle Book, right?
Oh yeah, Jungle Book. What am I talking about? Okay, yeah. So, and that was great. Jungle Book was fantastic. I haven't seen Cinderella though. I haven't seen.
Cinderella's not bad. It's really not bad.
That's the thing. I feel like, it seems like they're not messing around with these, which is kind of neat. Like, I definitely want to get a lot of that stuff in front of the kids and check it out. So, yeah, I'm interested to see what they're gonna do with old Mulan here.
Little Moulin Rouge.
Mm-hmm.
But the other news out of... and we'll keep you posted on all things Disney princesses because we have daughters.
No problem.
But the other big news out of New Zealand is that Taika Waititi, who's the director of What We Do in the Shadows and also the upcoming Thor movie, fantastic comedic actor in and of himself, he is doing there's a famed Blacklist script, that's that big Hollywood standard for every year of the best unproduced screenplays, about Michael Jackson's chimp Bubbles. And I think it's even from the perspective of the chimp. And so he's directing this as a stop-motion animated film with the company that did Anomalisa, the Charlie Kaufman movie, which I still have got to see.
Still haven't seen that.
And also I think Dan Harmon's company is involved, of Community fame.
Right.
So I definitely want to see what the hell this will look like.
Yeah, again, definitely intrigued. I have no idea what this is even supposed to mean to me, to be honest. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that trailer and see exactly where they're going to take things.
Well, apparently he mentioned like he's like, obviously people know I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. So I didn't know that, but that's kind of interesting. But he said that this isn't a movie about Michael Jackson. Like, it's not that story. He would not feel comfortable telling that story, but it is about like his legacy in that world. Right. And that's a really interesting premise at the least.
Sure.
So I think that's one of those that you could imagine is great on paper, but needs the really like the perfect guy to pull that off. And maybe they got it here. I think that they got a good shot.
Maybe so. Yeah, I have no way of judging who would be great for this particular one. So, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I need to find the script and figure out if there's even like dialogue or what.
Yeah. Yeah. What if you can't even tell what anyone's saying the whole time?
Yeah. I will say I do remember, in Being John Malkovich, there's that moment where you sort of go inside the mind of the chimp that he and Cameron Diaz, Cusack and Cameron Diaz have.
Yeah.
And you sort of see how it escaped from his parents when his parents were captured.
That's pretty great.
And that's like the only thing I can conjure up, but that was live action, obviously. So this will be quite different. And yeah, we'll be talking about that one again, I'm sure, too.
Absolutely.
Craig, I got nothing else. I think we'll keep our eyes peeled on the interwebs and see what else pops up. But yeah, I think that was. It's been a good couple of weeks for exciting news out of the movie world, I think.
It has. And actually, you know what? I'll throw one more thing out there.
Throw it.
So I mentioned a while back, a friend of mine, Megan Griffiths, was putting together a movie called Sadie. We were talking about you can throw some money their way or some donations in kind to help get this movie made. Well, there was an announcement in Variety today that Sadie at least has been cast.
Oh, fantastic.
Looks like Melanie Linsky, Danielle Brooks.
I love her.
Yeah, and Tony Hale.
The great Tony Hale, yes.
Yeah, are going to be in this. So if any of those names are super exciting to you, go to sadiefilm.com. And help support this movie. It looks like it's going to be pretty great. So don't miss it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And we'll be back next time. We flopped things around a little bit just due to some technical difficulties we were having in the editing room. But yeah, we're talking with Brian O'Connell about the 2015 comedy Bad Milo.
Right on.
That is... Again, just go look at the poster. You'll get a good idea of what that movie is about and why you should watch it on Netflix. And that was a fun discussion. So that episode will be up soon. And until then, you know where to find us. And keep your dreams alive and your evil dead.
Oh, that was good.